Well, what a weekend it's been at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. I mean, can you believe it? Formula One just does not disappoint, does it? Neither does Formula 2 and neither does the F1 Academy. Well, obviously the big news of the weekend was that Formula 2 driver, Prema driver, Ollie Bearman, was called up, and that was after he'd actually got pole position for the feature race on Saturday. So he'd done really well in his own series, and then he got the call to take Carlos Sainz's seat, which we all know because we all watched it. And what an outstanding job he did. I mean, I've known this young man for a couple of years, since I first met him in the F2 paddock in Abu Dhabi when he did the F2 test. Such a lovely guy, and you're going to hear this a lot. He genuinely is. He's so polite, he's so nice, and you saw the images of how genuinely delighted he was to have been given that ride. And not only was he trusted with that Ferrari, that prancing horse, that I'm sure is not an easy car to drive. You know, we all know the struggles that Ferrari have had. What he did with it, wow. I mean, he qualified in P11, only just missing out on Q3, and he then went and smashed it, almost overtook Yuki Tsunoda on the first lap, but obviously Alonso just got in his way a little bit. And the biggest thing that impressed me was his ability to maintain that speed, pull a faster lap on his final lap. But the guy must have been in so much pain and in so much discomfort because there's a level of fitness that they have. You know, they all still have trainers in Formula 2, but there's a level of fitness from Formula 2 to Formula 1. And for him to have survived that race and not to have dropped back and back, that's why it's big news. That's why it's a big story, because he just did an amazing job. And the icing on the cake was obviously Ollie was voted driver of the day, and I voted myself because he thoroughly deserved it. Anyway, enough gushing about Ollie. Move on to the next one. Haas, oh wow, how well played. I mean, I felt like Kevin Magnussen was Moses, you know, sort of holding back the Red Sea. And he was absolutely holding everybody back, still driving as fast as he could, of course, with those penalties that he'd picked up, and unselfishly, team-spiritedly, not only was attempting to give Nico a tow on the quali lap, which obviously went a little bit wrong because Nico lost power of his car, he then took quite a few for the team and held everybody back so Nico could grab the final point. There are many iconic images in Formula One, we all know this, and we all love Alonso in his deck chair, that time when he was really fed up, you know, and we all know the pains he was going through at that time. And now we have the meme of Nico in his camping chair, sitting by his car. Now, the Dutch national anthem rang out on the podium on Saturday, but it also rang out on the podium on Friday, and that was for Formula 2's Richard Verschoor. Richard's rejoined Trident, and he's looking pretty handy in that car and very comfortable back with the team that he's driven for before. Sadly, I've changed direction, you might have noticed. Sadly, I'm out for a Sunday walk, it's lovely. I should go by the river. Is it going to pick up the water too much? I don't know. It's just like, you think I'm in somewhere really amazingly gorgeous. And no, I'm just local, and there's a bit of sort of crap behind me. It kind of gathers in the winter. They do clean it up for the summer, but at the moment it's still obviously not the right weather. Anyway, that's enough about my local river. Let's get back to what we were talking about. So Richard's car, absolutely gutted for him, was found to have a technical infringement, and so he was knocked off the top spot, and Dennis Hauger inherited the win. I'm so pleased for Dennis. He is one of the nicest guys in Formula 2. He's been what I would like to describe as a friend of mine since he did the test in Abu Dhabi. Way back when, and I actually did a cheeky track walk with the Prema team, and Dennis was on that track walk for the very first time with the Formula 2 team that he was about to join, and he was the nicest person. Him, his dad as well, were just tremendous. And I'm so happy to know him, and I'm so happy that he got onto that podium. He'd had a disappointing Bahrain. He'd finished P8 twice, and I was in the garage and I saw him, and it's always hard to see when a driver is that disappointed with their performance, because from an outside point of view and from a fan point of view, for the first race weekend of a season, you know, P8 is nothing to be disappointed with. But obviously he's going for the championship this year, so P8 wasn't good enough for him, but you know, he recovered, he bounced back, and then look what happened over this weekend at Saudi. He then also finished on the podium in the feature race as well. So not only did he inherit the win on Friday, he also just snatched P3 in the feature race on Saturday. Oh my God, what a nail-biting finish that was. How exciting. I have no idea how he did it, but he did. I'm sorry for Jack Crawford. You know, it was probably Jack's at that moment in time, and Dennis just snatched it in the final moments. Enzo Fittipaldi, absolutely well done to him. I mean, he won that feature race absolutely astonishingly, superbly, and I'm so excited for him. He did an amazing double overtake in turns 1 and 2, and it was sort of now or never, and he took the chance and he got it, and he gave an incredibly emotional tribute at the end. I got a lump in my throat thinking about it. He did an emotional tribute in the end to his great uncle Wilson Fittipaldi, who was a racing driver in his own right and also a Formula One team owner. And his great uncle passed away quite recently, so my sympathies to the family, and what a way to dedicate a race to him. It was only 3 years ago that Enzo had a massive crash at the Jeddah Corniche circuit, and that was as Théo Pourchaire stalled on the grid on the race start, and Enzo, unsighted, crashed into the back of him. Enzo sustained quite a serious injury. It was a fracture to his ankle and some facial injuries, and it was, you know, he had to be extricated. See, it's heart-stopping moments when that happens in any racing series, and we're so glad that obviously he was okay and unscathed. And what a comeback, and what a way to, you know, bury those ghosts, that if there are any left for him at that circuit, what a way to overcome what happened 3 years ago. So well done, Enzo. But one to watch out for this season, and that is Zane Maloney. Zane had oh gosh, Bahrain. Re-watch it if you haven't watched it. He did the double. He won both races on the very first race weekend. In Jeddah, he qualified in 16th and made up 12 places to finish in P4. Can you believe it? And the day after, he finished in 7th. So absolutely, it's in that Rodin car. Zane Maloney is leading the championship at the moment, and it looks like the man from Barbados is there to stay. Another one to watch out for is Paul Arron, but I'm going to talk about Paul Arron another time, because I've talked about F2 for long enough, and we need to crack on. We need to crack on to Formula One Academy. Wow, incredible. Dorian Pan, you are class, and being in the World Endurance Championship clearly shows for the difference. You smashed the whole weekend, and she's not listening, I have no idea. She smashed the whole weekend, and she got both pole positions for both races. She won both races outright, genuinely. I'm absolutely gutted for her that the win for the second race was taken away from her. There was a really bizarre moment at the end, and she missed a checkered flag. And of course, the responsibility of the race finish is down to the driver. So she should have noticed that checkered flag. Even if she looked in her mirrors and didn't see Abby pulling right behind her, you know, it might have been a moment for her to question why did she notice she was alone on the track. But more bizarrely, unless there was a technical issue, I'm not sure why the Prema team not necessarily came on the radio to tell her, because if they'd all taken their headsets off, that's fair enough. But what is odd to me is that they didn't come over the radio to congratulate her and to say well done on your finish. And missing the checkered flag, missing Abby pulling behind her, that would have given her quite a big hint if the team would have come on the radio and said congrats on your second race win. So we're not quite sure what happened there. Sadly, she was demoted, and I quite think that was wrong. If there was a fine for her or a fine for the team, then I wouldn't have an issue with that. I've got an issue with the race win being taken off her because she genuinely earned that win. So I'm so sorry to you, Dorian. So that meant that Abby Pulling from Great Britain inherited the win. And you know, I've met Abby and I've interviewed Abby, and she is an absolute wonderful young lady. She's got amazing hair and she should be in the L'Oreal adverts. So L'Oreal, if you're looking to sponsor F1 Academy, please look at Abby Pulling and go look at her hair, because it's fabulous. Now, one to watch out for in F1 Academy is Maya Wieg. I hope that's how you say her name. Let me know in the comments if not Maya. Maya won the Girls on Track Rising Stars, the very first one that Dorian Pan was also a part of. They finished in the top 4, but Maya won the whole thing. And she then got the place straight into the Ferrari Driver Academy, and then, you know, obviously look back at her racing history in the last few years and you'll see what she's achieved. But she's also been very handy this weekend in Jeddah. So yeah, keep your eye on Maya, because she's also in contention. But overall, we've had a quick look at the winners and losers. We know that Max is Max. He's in a league of his own at the moment, so he's just winning. And poor Lance Stroll obviously didn't, and definitely could not get that car back to the pit and the garage. So what we've learned from the weekend is that it's business as usual for Max Verstappen. And at this moment in time, I know that there's many jokes out there, but it looks like he's going to steal the championship yet again, unless any of the teams can obviously make some massive improvements. Who will top the Formula 2 championship? Well, it could be Zane Maloney, could be Dennis Haugergier, or even Richard Verschoor, or maybe Enzo. But I think we can all agree that the winner of the weekend was Ollie Bearman, and he came out with a fantastic analogy, and he said that Formula 2 tests the limit of the car. Formula 1 tests the limit of the driver.